Hello and welcome back to the podcast. I hope you are doing really, really well. It has been a trying week of note. Life has been lifing. Yeah, I don't want to say too much about it, but it's been a hard week. I've been very unproductive. I've had terrible sleep one night because the dogs kept me up. I think Thursday night I didn't get sleep. And I woke up Friday morning with like 3 hours under my belt and it was not good. So I went to go sleep early on Friday. Anyway, the weekend was hectic and this is a mini life update. But I applied and have been applying for different jobs. And I got an interview for Monday. By the time you hear this episode, obviously the date would have passed because I'm recording it on Sunday evening. And I don't know what is going to happen. If I do get this job, it's going to change, I won't say my life, I will just say my routines, which I'm not going to complain about because if I do get it, things are going to go from 0 to 100 real quick. And if I don't, I'll keep trying, but I at least have a bit more preparation for what's to come. And that is, I think, scarier than having to jump in at the deep end because that is generally what I do. I just dive in and swim. Sinking is not an option. So that is where I am. My emotions are all over the place right now, but I'm going to try and finish off this episode strong because it is the final episode for the month of August, themed under women, for the Women's Month. And for this episode, I wanted to speak about women supporting women. So that's what I'm going to do. For me, having women supporting other women is the cornerstone of a lot of things. Just as an example, with my niece and sister's birthday, they had a birthday on the same day. I took my sister out the Saturday and I went to see my niece on Sunday. And we were having lunch at a spur and everyone was there. Now keep in mind, for those of you who don't know, my niece is my half-sister's child. I have siblings from my mother and father, which are full-blooded siblings, and then siblings from my stepmother and my father. So I've got 3 half older siblings. And this niece was from my one half-sister and we all get along. There's no bad blood. I don't even reference them as, my half-sister's child or like, it's my sister, it's my niece, end of discussion. My stepmother was there, my grandmother was there, everyone was there and we all got along. It was the most chill day ever. And that is something I love to see. Like, there's never a struggle amongst us as siblings or as parental figures. My mother isn't fighting with my stepmother, my grandmother isn't taking sides, my father isn't like segregating people. Like, my nieces have slept over here several times. I've gone to visit them. I used to sleep over by my sister. It's not a big thing. And seeing that from a lot of females is just beautiful because a lot of times you hear horror stories about step-parents. I mean, Cinderella as like the main example from childhood, and yet here I have such shining examples of just women supporting women regardless of what has happened in the past, and I think that is just awesome. Shout out to them. And if we can do it as a family, I'm sure people are always emphasizing that, your work people are your work family. Like, why can't you do it there? So support one another, encourage one another, don't step on one another's toes. And one of the main factors in this is that, yes, women need to support women, but men need to support women as well. And I found a brilliant article on powerafrica.medium.com. It breaks it down very nicely. I wanted to just speak about that. So I'll have the article linked below as per usual, but I'm just going to read the 7 items that they have found on how to be an ally for women. So what I'm going to do is basically just read it and then give you an overview of the 7 different items that the article has decided on. So the first one is actively listen to women's perspective. The second one, reflect on your own power and privilege as a man. 3, credit your female co-workers' ideas fairly. 4, advocate for gender equitable policies in the workplace. 5, challenge sexism and speak up when you hear sexist language. 6, step up at home to take on your full share of housework and childcare. And 7, support diverse female leaders you believe in. One thing I noticed about the list is that I like how the first 2 steps make you aware of how to do things. Like, you need to listen, like actively listen. 2, you need to reflect on your own power and privilege as a man. And to me, those are kind of like basic homework things you need to do. Like, as a human being, you need to understand who you are, where you are, and what power you have, in what ways you have those powers. For example, I don't mean it as you're a man, you're above a woman. No, I mean it as in you are someone who has a car. You need to understand your privilege of being able to drive yourself to work and back, and be empathetic to people who have to take public transport, because that is not the safest option, that is not the easiest option, and that is often the most exhausting option that they have available, but it's what they do. Understanding your privilege is that kind of idea. And then the second thing is actively listening. I don't understand why this is something people don't understand. I mean, just look around you. Observe what is going on. I understand technology does distract, but it's one of the biggest things for me. Do not disrespect me by not listening when I'm speaking, especially if I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, and you aren't making eye contact, aren't making non-verbal cues to acknowledge you hear me. You aren't asking questions or things to show that you've been listening. Like, that annoys me, because that has got nothing to do with sexism. That has got nothing to do with you're a man, I'm a woman. That is baseline disrespect, human to human. And that I can't stand. Like, it annoys me so much. And I mean, even if you take out the gender out of the equation, basic human to human respect is something people need to learn. How are you not actively listening when another person is speaking? Like, why aren't you doing that? Are you not interested? Do you not care? And if not, remove yourself from the situation. Why are you listening to something you don't need to be listening to? But if you need to be listening, why aren't you actively listening? That is something that gets my goat. And that is just the biggest thing for me. And I mean, those are only the first 2 points. If we move on to the next point, which is to credit your female co-workers' ideas fairly, as well as advocate for gender equitable policies in the workplace. Why do you need to advocate them? They should be in place already. Gender equality policies should be in the workplace. They should not be doing something underhanded. And that's where the things come in. Like, if you are getting paid a higher salary, be transparent about that. I mean, if you are getting parental leave as a woman for 3 months, shouldn't men be entitled to the same thing? Or if men are getting at least 2 months, shouldn't you be getting 2 months as well? Obviously, it's a bit harder on you, but then advocate for that as a woman so that the men can advocate for you when it comes to certain things as well. Like being transparent in how much exactly they are earning in order to have an equal pay policy. Things like even just, they said number 3, credit your female co-workers' ideas fairly. All ideas are just ideas. They aren't tied to the person who said it. Because often ideas aren't about who said it. It's about who said it the loudest. As long as you are heard, that is a good thing. But yes, you should be given the credit where credit is due. That is how it works. Especially if it's your idea and you finally have a chance to lead the project. As a female, your co-workers who are male should be standing up for you and saying, no, this was her idea. She should get the credit. She should take the lead. Point blank period. It should not be that hard. Number 5 was challenging sexism and speaking up when you hear sexist language. The fact that people still do this in this day and age, it actually makes me sad. Like, can you not grow up? Can you not make snide remarks? Can you not be childish and immature? Because that's essentially what I think it is. Using these derogatory words and statements and subtle hints and stuff, it's cliquey, it's high schooly, it's weird. Like, you aren't a child, you're a grown human being, you are in a place of work. Why are you behaving like a child on a school field? Like, grow up. And that is the thing. We are putting people in positions of power with no mental and emotional maturity. Because if you're acting like a child, you are thinking like a child. And if you can't behave like a mature adult, what are you doing in positions of power where you can dictate to other people? That is not good in any way, shape or form. So how are we letting this slide? And I do think it's because as women, we aren't taken seriously, we aren't listened to, we are pushed under a rug, we are told we'll make a man's life difficult by speaking up against them. And I'm just like, yeah, it should be. Because they don't deserve to have it easy if they've made everyone else miserable and ruined lives emotionally. That is just it. Number 6, step up at home and take on your share of housework and childcare. And this, I made a note. That reminds me, it's like a viral meme of the scene in Fresh Off the Boat where I think it's the husband who's like, I just babysat the kids the other day. And she's like, it's not babysitting if it's your kids. It's called parenting. And that's kind of what I think it has become, where people kind of forget that you aren't babysitting your own kids. You need to parent your own kids. And the fact that a lot of people still think of women as the ones who need to do all the housework is ridiculous in this day and age, because to me, once again, it's a basic human thing. As a human being, you need to eat, you need to clean, you need to wash your clothes, you need to cook your food. You need to do all these things in order for basic human life to continue. If you pay someone else to do it, cool, but that can't be your spouse. And this works both ways. You need to work it out between yourselves, who does what, how you do it, how often it gets done, and put that into place. And if you both don't want to do anything, you're going to pay someone to do that, but that's on you. But as long as you agree to it, it's fine. And that's kind of my view on it. I don't mind doing what I need to do, but there needs to be equality amongst it. It kind of riles me up because I have a thing in mind that I won't say. But yeah, equality is a thing that is just basic human levels when it comes to this point. You need to do your fair share. And yes, as a person, you need your me time. And if you have kids, that can be a bit difficult. But that's where communication comes in. You need to talk to your partner about making time for these things. So I'm going to move on before I get preachy, because I can hear myself sometimes. And that was just bordering on that line. So I'm going to move on. 7, supporting diverse female leaders you believe in. This I find kind of oxymoronic, because how are you supposed to support female leaders in your field when you don't employ female leaders in your field? When you have statistics that are disappointingly low on how many women are in leadership positions in companies, and the stats don't change much after 20 years. How large corporations and companies don't have a lot of women in power. How the JSE does not have a lot of women in the top 40 companies. That is ridiculous. How are you supposed to look up to women when you aren't willing to put women in those places? And that's just me being cynical, but that's the reality of it. And this is where I think finding people who are on your level or maybe slightly above you, even if they aren't in the top rank of position, is going to be key. Because being able to look up at them and just be like, wow, good job, I'm so proud of this person, that is a thing that you can do. And maybe just be like, I really admire your work ethic. Like, thank you, you've inspired me. That is something you can do. Do you know how that will make someone's day? Like, you have no idea. And a lot of these things I don't really think about, especially in the workplace, because my workplace is my home. And to me, it's something important. And I'm very conscious of a lot of power dynamics and things going forward that I will have to now deal with. But for the most part, I'm not stressed because I've learned to kind of speak up for myself. And I think that is the biggest thing we as women on the whole need to do. We need to start speaking up, taking back our power and owning who we are and where we are and what kind of power we actually have. Because we kind of forget that sometimes. We forget how strong we really are, and we sometimes even underestimate ourselves and others. And that is something that we should never do. To wrap up this episode, I think that this month has been insightful. I've had to research a lot of things I don't think I would have otherwise, and that's been interesting. But I wanted to kind of leave you with this. Try to stop thinking about things in gender norms and try and think of it in terms of human to human. Stop thinking about this is a man and this is a woman. Stop trying to idealize and quantify and pigeonhole an idea so that you can cope. Take it as it comes and just think of this human being as a human being and afford them the respect they deserve. And if they're a trash human being, then they don't deserve it. So do with that information what you will. And while you are ruminating about that, go listen to this week's Song of the Week, which is Mother by Meghan Trainor. That song encapsulates Women's Month into a pop sensation in your eardrums. Like, I have no other way to describe it except go close your eyes and listen to the words she sings. You will laugh. You will be just like, ooh, someone's spicy. Like, yes. Go do that. Go enjoy that music. Wish me good luck for my interview. Have yourself a good week. And keep being a better human being. Okay? And go give your mother a hug. I'll see you in next week's episode. Love you. Bye.